Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtike. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Kopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Text 7. Uddhav and Vidura are having the conversation. We saw yesterday how Uddhav went into ecstasy just by remembering Lord Krishna. So much love he has for Krishna that immediately, as soon as he heard about Krishna, he went into ecstasy. So reading on text 7. Uddhav Uvacha Krishna Dyomani Nimloche Graneshwa Ajagarenaha Kimno na Kushalam Bruyam Gata Shishu Griheshwa Aham. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sri Uddhav said, My dear Vidur, the Son of the world, Lord Krishna, has set, and our house has now been swallowed by the great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare? The disappearance of Krishna's son may be explained as follows. According to the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vidur was struck with great sorrow when he got the hint of the annihilation of the great Yadu dynasty, as well as of his own family, the Kuru dynasty. Uddhav could understand the grief of Vidur, and therefore he first of all wanted to sympathize with him by saying that after the sunset, everyone is in darkness. Since the entire world was merged in the darkness of grief, neither Vidur nor Uddhav nor anyone else could be happy. Uddhav was as much aggrieved as Vidur, and there was nothing further to be said about their welfare. So Vidura was already sad because he had heard that the war had taken place, so many of his loved ones had died in the war. And then he heard about the Yadu dynasty, that they had fought with each other and killed each other. So he was in so much grief. You know, when we hear of our loved ones leaving their body, we get so much aggrieved. And here it is at one time, so many of the loved ones are going. And then Krishna also has left. So their sorrow is really very, very deep. The comparison of Krishna to the sun is very appropriate. As soon as the sun sets, darkness automatically appears. But the darkness experienced by the common man does not affect the sun itself, either at the time of sunrise or of sunset. So when we say the sun is set and it's evening or it's dusk or it's become night now, it's just that we can't see the sun. The sun is still there. It's just it's shining in another part of the world. So nothing has happened to the sun. It's not that the sun does not exist anymore. It's just the sun is not in our vision. Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are exactly like that of the sun. He appears and disappears in innumerable universes. And as long as he's present in a particular universe, there is all transcendental light in that universe. But the universe from which he passes away is put into darkness. His pastimes, however, are everlasting. The Lord is always present in some universe, just as the sun is present in either the eastern or the western hemisphere. The sun is always present either in India or in America. But when the sun is present in India, the American land is in darkness. And when the sun is present in America, the Indian hemisphere is in darkness. So Krishna, he appears in many, many different universes. And then when he leaves that universe, he's appearing in another universe. It's not that he doesn't exist anymore. Prabhupada is giving the example that over here, when we have the sun right now in the Eastern hemisphere, in Taiwan, we have the sun. So in America, it's already become night over there. But it doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist. If suppose the American says, oh, now it's night, so there's no more, the sun is finished. But here we have the sun here, we can see it. So his statement is wrong. Or when it's night here, last night it was night here and we say, oh, no more sun. But the sun was there in the American land. So same, Krishna is also like that. It's just because if we can't see him, if he's left one universe, it doesn't mean he stopped existing. He's there in another universe. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But so wondrous that there are so many universes. That means that it's continuously he's appearing somewhere else. Wow.
Yeah. As the sun appears in the morning and gradually rises in meridian, again sets in one hemisphere, while simultaneously rising in another. So Lord Krishna's disappearance in one. I'm sorry?
Actually, there was some lot of disturbance.
Yeah. It's okay now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
As the sun appears in the morning and gradually rises to the meridian, and then again sets in one hemisphere, while simultaneously rising in the other. So Lord Krishna's disappearance in one universe and the beginning of his different pastimes in another take place simultaneously. As soon as one pastime is finished here, it is manifested in another universe, and thus his Nitya Leela, or eternal pastimes, are going on without ending. As the sunrise takes place once in 24 hours, similarly, the pastimes of Lord Krishna take place in a universe once in a daytime of Brahma, the account of which is given in the Bhagavad Gita as 4,300,000,000 solar years. But wherever the Lord is present, all his different pastimes are described in the revealed scriptures, take place at regular intervals, as described in the revealed scriptures. So Krishna's pastimes are all enumerated in the scriptures. We can see how even before Lord Krishna appeared to this earth, Brahmaji was telling Narad, oh, Krishna is going to come and he's going to do these activities. He's going to lift the Govardhan hill. Already he was saying. So the pure devotees, they always know when this Krishna is going to come, when is he going to come and what activities he'll do, just so that ordinary people don't take advantage and claim, oh yes, I'm Krishna, I'm God. And then innocent people will get misguided by that. As at sunset, and also the devotees are so much in love with Krishna that they want to sing the glories. Oh, Krishna's going to do this, like how we speak about the people we like. Oh, this one did this and it was so great and so amazing. As at sunset, the snakes become powerful, thieves are encouraged, ghosts become active, the lotus becomes disfigured, and the Chakravaki laments. So, with the disappearance of Lord Krishna, the atheists feel enlivened and the devotees become sorry. So, of course, the devotees don't like when Krishna leaves, because they feel separation from Krishna. So, reading on, text 8.
So, is it that as they mentioned that Krishna comes in one day of Brahma, so in one day of Brahma there are 14 Manus? So then in this present it will come, right? Like as Krishna came 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So only once.
Oh yes, only once.
Only once in the whole of one day. So in the 14 Manus, it will just come in one of the Manus.
Yeah.
Right? Because there will be 14 Manus in one day. So only one time Krishna ji will come. So as he came 5,000 years before, so that was now the one day, no more, right?
Yeah, Krishna comes as himself, as Swayam Bhagwan. His incarnations keep coming.
Yeah.
Mantar also there are incarnations. But as himself, he comes only in one day of Brahma. So in 1,000 cycles of Dwapar Yuga, he will come only in one of the Dwapar Yuga. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So it's very rare. And so we are greatly fortunate that Krishna was here on this earth only 5,000 years ago. And we are able to hear his glories, We are able to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and all the great scriptures, because it's just recent. If we see the full time frame, it's very recent. For us, 5,000 years might be like, oh wow, can't even imagine. But if you see that in so many billions of years, if Krishna is coming one time, then 5,000 years is relatively nothing.
Yeah.
So reading on text 8. Durbhago bataloko yam yadavo nitaram api ye samvashanto na vidur harimina evo dupam. This universe with all its planets is most unfortunate, and even more unfortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty, because they could not identify Lord Hari as the personality of Godhead any more than the fish could identify the moon. Uddhav lamented for the unfortunate persons of the world who could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna in spite of seeing all his transcendental godly qualities. From the very beginning of his appearance within the prison bars of King Kamsa, up to his Maushala Leela, although he exhibited his potencies as the personality of Godhead, in the 6 opulences of wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, the foolish persons of the world could not understand that he was the Supreme Lord. So Krishna was there in front of everyone at that time, 5,000 years ago. But many of them could not even understand that he's the Supreme Lord. So Uddhav is saying, it's such a wasted opportunity. Imagine that Krishna is in front of us and we don't recognize him. Such a great misfortune, We're not able to recognize, say, suppose we have a real diamond and we're not able to recognize the value, and so we don't say, I don't want it. So who's the loser? We'll be the loser, no? And if we can recognize, oh wow, this is a real diamond, it's very valuable. and we keep it, and so then we will be the gainer. So Krishna was appearing, he was exhibiting so many of his qualities, all his qualities. As we say, the meaning of Bhagwan given by Parsara Muni is somebody who is full in all the six opulences. Six opulences are these, wealth is an opulence. It's very attractive to everyone. So Krishna is all the wealth. Strength. We get amazed, no? If there's somebody who's very strong. Oh, wow, he's so strong. It attracts us. And Krishna is the strongest. At 7 years old, he picked up the Govardhan hill on his left finger for 7 days and 7 nights. Fame. Krishna is so famous. Millions and billions of years till today we are hearing his glories, chanting his glories. And not only on this one universe, but all the universes. So who can be more famous than Krishna? We say, oh, I'm so famous, Everybody knows me in whatever, my family, my community, my society, my country, my planet. We might say, or somebody might say, I'm the most famous person on this planet. But Krishna is the most famous in all the universes. And not only in this material world, but also in the spiritual world, which is even greater than this material world. Beauty, what to say about Krishna's beauty, is the most beautiful. He's so beautiful that one day when he saw his own reflection, he got amazed. He got attracted by his own reflection. Oh, wow, so much beauty, We might say, is that egoistic? Like we look in our mirror and then we try to admire ourselves. Oh, I'm looking so nice today. So Krishna also, he looked at himself and he was like, oh, wow. And knowledge, he's the most knowledgeable. He's given us all the Vedas. So all knowledge comes from him. And renunciation, that in spite of having everything, he has everything, yet he's not attached to anything. We get a little bit, how attached we get. It could be a material, it could be some wealth, or it could be some knowledge, it could be some, beauty, it could be anything. But we get so attached, and then because of that attachment, we get proud, oh, I have this. And Krishna, in spite of having everything, is not attached. Foolish persons might have thought him an extraordinary historic figure because they had no intimate touch with the Lord. But more unfortunate were the family members of the Lord, the members of the Yadu dynasty, who were always in company with the Lord, but were unable to recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have seen so many of these messages we get, especially now with WhatsApp and social media, and especially Janmashtami time. I don't know if you all saw, oh, Krishna was born in this day, he died in this date, and he was this and he did that. So they are reducing Krishna to just some historic person. Krishna is not just an ordinary living being who is famous at one point of time. No, he's the Supreme Lord. So such kind of messages are very offensive, actually, because they are not giving the truth. And they are, They are propagating the untrue position. Krishna never dies. He's eternal. He's eternal. His body is Satchidananda. He's not merely somebody who had a great mystic power, or he had so much knowledge, or he was a great fighter. No, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Uddhav is lamenting for that. And then he's also lamenting that his own family was not able to recognize him as the Supreme Lord. Uddhav lamented his own fortune also because although he knew Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could not properly use the opportunity to render devotional service to the Lord. Now, this is how a pure devotee acts. Because Uddhav did a lot of service for Krishna. He was with Krishna almost all his waking time. He was always serving Krishna. But how a pure devotee is, oh, I should have done more. I need to do more for Krishna. So he's saying, oh, I couldn't serve Krishna properly. He regretted everyone's misfortune, including his own. the pure devotee of the Lord thinks himself most unfortunate. That is due to excessive love for the Lord and is one of the transcendental perceptions of viraha, the suffering of separation. So this viraha, it's a mood of loving Krishna in separation. It is a very, very high mood that the pure devotees have, which was personified with the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani, after Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura. In this Viraha Bhav, they achieved more and more love. Their love became more and more deeper for Krishna. And they were experiencing more and more ecstasy. It is learned from the revealed scriptures that the moon was born from the ocean, from the milk ocean. And also this Viraha mood, Lord Chaitanya came to show us, because he was always in the mood of separation with Krishna. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? He never said, oh yeah, I'm here dancing with Krishna. Like many people, they misguide. You know, they say, yeah, I'm with Krishna and I'm dancing with him, I'm seeing him, I'm eating with him. But Lord Chaitanya, no, he said always, where is Krishna? That mood of separation. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Where are you, my dear Krishna? Where are you, Lalita Shakhi? Where are you, Radharani? Where are you, Vishakha? So the pure devotees never say, oh yeah, I'm with Krishna, you know, because then other people, they take advantage. They take advantage. Although they're not even pure devotees, they just say, yeah, I'm with Krishna. And then innocent people get misguided. Oh, really? You're with Krishna? Wow. You know, so just to safeguard the innocent people, Lord Chaitanya came to show how does a pure devotee act? What is the mood of pure devotion? And of course, Krishna keeps sending his pure devotees also to teach us. There is a milk ocean in the upper planets, and there, Lord Vishnu, who controls the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the Supersoul, resides as the Shirodakshayi Vishnu. So we know that Shirodakshayi Vishnu is called Shirodakshayi Vishnu because he sleeps on the milk ocean. Yeah, so this is in the pole star actually. And pole star, Shirodakshayi Vishnu is there. And the same Shirodakshayi Vishnu is the Paramatma in each and every living entity's heart. In your heart, my heart, in the heart of all the animals, all the human beings, all the aquatics, birds, beasts, all the different species of life. And also, he is inside each and every atom of the universe. Those who do not believe in the existence of the ocean of milk, because they have experience only of the salty water in the ocean, should know that the world is also called the go, which means the cow. The urine of a cow is salty. And according to Ayurvedic medicine, the cow's urine is very effective in treating patients suffering from liver trouble. Such patients may not have any experience of the cow's milk, because milk is never given to liver patients. But the liver patient may know that the cow has milk also, although he has never tasted it. Similarly, men who have experience only of this tiny planet, where the saltwater ocean exists, may take information from the revealed scriptures that there is also an ocean of milk, although we have never seen it. So we can say, oh, I've never seen this ocean of milk. Why should I trust it? Because the scriptures mention it. You know, same as Prabhupada is giving the example that somebody is suffering from a liver disease. Now, Ayurvedic medicine, this is not Western medicine will say, oh my God, how can you drink this cow urine? But it is known, it has a lot of medicinal qualities, you know, if somebody is willing to go for it. So Prabhupada is saying somebody who's always just drinking cow urine will not imagine that cow is also giving milk. You know, but just because he's never had milk, it doesn't mean that the milk does not exist, that the cow is not giving milk. Same way, because we have not seen the ocean of milk, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know, like for example, we can't see the bacteria around us. We can't see it. But then, because the scientists say, oh yes, there is a lot of bacteria and germs all around us, so we trust them because that's the authority. So we always have to follow authority in whatever particular field to have correct knowledge.
So you mean the ocean, which is salty water, is actually the urine of the cow?
No, no, no.
No.
No, 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 no.
Okay, because it says yes, like that, no? That salty water is.
The urine is
They're
also
just
salty. So Prabhupada is giving this example,
example.
giving the example that urine of the cow is salty. Now,
Okay.
somebody who has a liver disease is always drinking this salty urine, and he has never drank milk of a cow. Okay, so but does it mean that cow's milk doesn't exist? It exists, right? So
Right.
similarly, we are always seeing the ocean, salty ocean. We have never seen the ocean of milk, but the scriptures are saying it. The scriptures say that ocean of milk exists. So we should trust, we should have faith in the scriptures and accept it. Yes, that the ocean of milk also exists. The real scriptures, the true scriptures, not somebody who's made up anything. You know, so we should have full faith in the revealed scriptures. From
Yeah,
this,
we have to be submissive, no?
yeah,
Basically, yeah, accept the scriptures.
yes. From this ocean of milk,
I think it will come forward that there are 7 oceans. It's the Jambu Dweep we are living in, right? The structure of this universe will come forward, right? Okay.
yes. From this ocean of milk, the moon was born, but the fish in the milk ocean could not recognize that the moon was not another fish and was different from them. From the ocean of milk, the moon was born, but the fish in the milk ocean could not recognize that the moon was not another fish and was different from them. The fish took the moon to be one of them, or maybe something illuminating, but nothing more. The unfortunate persons who do not recognize Lord Krishna are like such fish. They take him to be one of them, although a little extraordinary in opulence, strength, etc. The Bhagavad Gita 9.11 confirms such foolish persons to be most unfortunate. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanum ashritam. So, Prabhupada is giving the example here. Of course, Uddhav is giving that the moon is created from the ocean of milk, and so there are also fish in the ocean of milk. And so if the fish think that the moon and the fish are the same, does it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. The moon is a highly heavenly planet, you know. It doesn't make sense. So same, if we think because Krishna is appearing in a human-like form, he is one like one of us, he's just a more beautiful than me, and he's more knowledge than me, and he's stronger than me, and he's little more famous than me, and he is little more renounced than me, but still, so what? He's just an ordinary person, you know. That is unfortunate. If we think of Krishna as an ordinary person like us, he's the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not many people will say, yeah, I know Krishna, but we are not able to understand Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord. You know, especially in India, everybody will say, yes, of course I know Krishna. I know he used to steal the butter, and he stole the gopis' clothes, and he used to play with the gopis. I know what he used to do. So what, you know? But that's not knowing Krishna. Once we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the personality, he's the Supreme Personality of God, and that is knowing Krishna. Is that okay?
Yeah. So when Krishna comes, like see now Kali here, right? That Krishna will be taking the avatar of Kalki avatar. So he'll come with the complete 6 opulences.
So, yeah, and then as we have been reading that each incarnation exhibits as much power as is needed at that time.
Okay.
According to time, place, and circumstance, what is needed? Krishna displays that much.
Okay, so it's not the full like 6 opulences. in
Kalki
Like-
is not Swayam Bhagavan. He is an incarnation.
Incarnation. Okay.
An
So when he comes as an incarnation, it's not the Swayam Bhagwan. It's not a complete
Yeah, it's not Shyam Sundar Krishna.
Sham Sundar. Okay.
Yeah, when Shyam Sundar Krishna comes, all
So
the
all, yeah. Okay.
although there is no difference between them, but yet there is a difference.
हाँ वो कल्कि यानी कि दूसरे कार्नेशन थोड़ा लीलाएं कर रहे हैं कृष्णा के सामने।
Gonna say that.
कृष्णा ने जन्म लिया तो उन्होंने लीला
तो
की, सब
लीला
कुछ
की।
किया।
Yeah.
पूरन
ओ।
बिल्कुल पूरन 16 कला पूरन 32 कलाएं। हाँ और
Correct.
ये लोग तो सिर्फ ऐसे ही अपना रोल पार्ट करके जैसी सिचुएशन रहेंगी आएंगे उतना काम करेंगे और चले
करके
जाएंगे।
और फिर चलिए। हाँ, okay.
Thank you. Yes. Also,
Yeah.
sweet loving pastimes, the loving dealings with his devotees. Krishna
हाँ,
has this
कृष्णा ने जो प्यार गोपियों को सबको दिया, जिनसे वादा किया था द्वापर में, सबको। हेलो,
हाँ, आप सुनाई दे रहे हैं आंटी?
हाँ तो वो उन्होंने वो पूरा किया अपना, उन्होंने पूरा पूर्ण जीवन उनका हुआ पूर्ण।
Mhm.
So, and because Krishna has these 4 opulences which even Lord Vishnu doesn't have. One is his beautiful form. As Shyam Sundar Krishna is the most.
हाँ सभी कुछ देखा,
सब
बिना
कुछ
जन्म
देखा।
से लेकर उनका जन्म से लेकर अंत तक सब देखा ना पूरा।
Yeah. And then Krishna has his devotees, his loving exchange with his devotees,
हाँ
as Auntie was saying. And then his pastimes, which attract our heart also.
और जिन्होंने पहचाना उनको, जिन्होंने पूरा फायदा उठाया और सब कुछ किया उनके साथ में, लीलाएं सब में भाग लिया, जिन्होंने पहचाना भक्तों ने।
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Auntie.
हम लोग को चांस नहीं मिला।
A chance मिल सकता है.
हाँ।
हाँ अभी हम भक्ति करके, उतनी भक्ति करके उनके गोलोक में जाके उनके साथ वहां कर सकते हैं ना।
Yes, yes. Or each of us have this right.
हाँ हमको तो अभी टाइम है, हम तो समझ गए हैं ना, अभी हम तो ये सब पढ़ रहे हैं और सब कर रहे हैं, तो उसी हिसाब से करके करके हम पहुंच सकते हैं ना उनके गोलोक में।
Correct. Thank you. I think I have to leave now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joining.
Shilpaji, I have a question.
Yes, please, Shita.
What is Moshala Leela? Like, I
Oshala
don't.
Leela was the Leela where the Yadus, they annihilated each other under the influence of drinking this beverage made from some rice beverage. They got intoxicated and then they picked up the bamboo rods, which was growing on the river at Prabhas, I think it was. And then under this intoxication, they killed each other. This is the Moshala.
I
Okay,
think
got
they were also cursed. That's why this Leela happened, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they were cursed by some rishi.
Yes, and the reason they were cursed is because Krishna needed them to come. Krishna wanted to wind up his pastimes. Brahmaji, the reason why you came is finished already. And so it's time for you to wind up your pastime. So when Krishna leaves, then all his whole entourage also goes with him.
Yeah.
Like when a king comes, his whole entourage comes with him, right? The president will come, so many cars will be in front and back with him.
His associates, right?
So many people. And then when the president goes, wherever he goes, they go with him. So Krishna needed to make arrangements for his own people to also go back home. And so how can they go back home? They're so powerful. How can they leave? They're not going to die. They're immortal. And so he arranged this Leela to happen. Nobody else could kill them because they are so powerful. And so he arranged it in such a way that they killed each other and then they went back home.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shla
जय
Adhiki Jai.
जय।
Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.